we gather together in the presence of our shepherd God, who calls us each by name, who restores our souls and carries us home, who leads us in the ways of righteousness, whose goodness and love never stops pursuing us and rounding us up and guiding us forward, no matter how lost or confused we may have become. This is the God in whom we give our trust. This is the God who teaches us how to recognize the shepherds in our midst and who calls us each to stand up and be the shepherds for one another. In this moment, alone but together, let us worship our God.
We gather together to worship on this land of the Wurundjeri people. As we gather, we acknowledge the wattle, the cockatoo, and the bend in the Burrung River was taken without consent or negotiation. We give our respect to elders past, present, and emerging. We pledge ourselves to work alongside these First People to achieve a just future for all.
I am your true shepherd. I will lead you there, beside still waters. Come and meet me in the middle of the air. I will meet you in the middle of the air. I will lay you down in pastures green and fair. Every soul shall be restored. Come and meet me in the middle of the air. Come and meet me in the middle of the air. Through the lonesome valley, my rod and staff you bear. Fear not death's dark shadow, I will meet you in the middle of the air. Come and meet me in the middle of the air. Meet me, middle of the air.
I will meet you in the middle of the air.
Our reading of the 23rd Psalm today comes to us from Sharon, and she's giving us a version by the theologian and artist Jan Richardson.
Hello everybody. I'm going to read Psalm 23. Shepherd me, God, help me follow. All I need is given. Help me trust, receive, and be grateful. You lead me to rest and restoration. Give me faith to drink deeply, to lie down. You lead me on a path with heart. Help me follow for your sake. Even through the darkest valley, give me courage to trust and follow. You are with me, your presence comforting in all my difficulties. Help me trust. You prepare a feast for me despite my fears. You invite me to be at peace with my enemies. You shower me with blessing, bathe me in gratitude. Your goodness and mercy stick to me. Help me trust. I am in you always. Always.
Fix It!
Welcome to Fix It, an online series of videos created by Anna Thompson Comedy, exploring fun, interactive, and very silly ways to connect to your inner clown and the environment around you. Isn't that right, Fix It?
But before we begin, we'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land where we're making this video. The beautiful land where all these flowers, vegetables, animals, and native plants thrive. The land of the Wurundjeri people. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging on the land on which you're standing on too. And to any First Nations people watching today.
But not everyone has a backyard. And not everyone's backyard is dry all the time. So today, we're going to look at the environment inside. Come on in. There's often a lot of things just hanging around the house that you might want to throw away. But Fix It has a bit of a toolkit to make use of things differently. You can create your own toolkit by thinking about objects around you in a very different way.
Let's go look for some now.
Hey, that's mine.
Maybe the lounge room's better.
Hey, that's mine.
How about the kitchen? A lot of it looks like rubbish. But you might ask, what would Fix It do? Let's see. Now it's your turn. You can pause the video and go and find some objects, or you can do it later. We'll give you some time to decide. If you did find some objects, what did they become? Was it surprising to you? How silly did you get? Maybe you want to make the objects talk or create puppets with them. There's a lot of ways we can reinvent objects. Before you throw something out next time, just think, what would Fix It do?
Did you know that monkeys can be found all over the world? But have you ever heard of a monkey-faced orchid?
Found in South America, these orchids love living high in the mountains. What kind of orchids have you seen in Australia before? Here's a veined helmet orchid.
How about that?
Well, that's it for Fix It today. Would you like to stay in touch? You can send a photo or a video of your object creations to the links below.
Do you want to play more? We've got our next video coming in just a few days. See you then. Bye.
I am your true shepherd. I will lead you there. A few years ago, 3, 4, maybe 5, I stood on the edge of a grave. Into this grave, a wee coffin had been laid. It held the body of a baby boy not yet born, who had passed away inside the safety of his mother, letting loose his tiny grip on life. A few years later, in church, I sang this same song. I am your true shepherd. I will lead you there. I was preaching on the 23rd Psalm, you see, and I sang this song again, forgetting, because I have stood at so many gravesides, that the mother who had grieved beside me on that day was sitting in the pews. And as soon as the song began to peal forth from my throat, I felt a tension in the space, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw this young woman, this young mother, rise and stand up and quietly leave the church. I kept singing, of course, because that is what we do, but inside myself I fell down upon my knees by the side of that grave now newly dug in my memory, with a sudden dread of knowing that I had failed her. I had failed her. Because I had not prepared her, because I had forgotten about the last time that I had sung this song, but that she had not. And that for her, it was unbearable. Sometimes we are not the good shepherd for each other. Sometimes we're not even the okay shepherd. Sometimes we are the shepherd who stuffs things up, who breaks things, the shepherd who lets the wolves in. The origins of the 23rd Psalm, our reading for today, are uncertain. But tradition tells us that its author was King David, who drew upon his experience as a shepherd boy before he was sought out and anointed by the prophet Samuel. Anointed as leader. And in the Gospels, the Good Shepherd is one of the best loved images. It appears in all 4 books and is most especially prominent in the Gospel of John. I am your true shepherd. This has been a year of many simple acts of shepherding, many simple acts of profound courage by front-line workers. The cleaners, the doctors, the nurses, the teachers, the social workers, the shop assistants, the police, the journalists, all of them turning up every single day despite the fact that an invisible virus stalks the pastures green and fair and threatens their very being. They have been our shepherds this year. And together we have all walked through the valley of the shadow. This psalm was traditionally not a funeral psalm, although for many of us this is what we connect it to. And actually, if we really listen to it rather than just letting it wash over us, which is hard to do because it is so very familiar. It's as much about life and living as it is about death and dying. And within its words, we can find politics and justice and a cry for courage. The politics come with the naming of the shepherd. This was often understood in context as a political metaphor. King David was the shepherd king. We can hear the psalmist saying to whoever else may be in power, you. And insert here any corrupt leader or ideological system. You aren't my shepherd. You, the colonizer, or you, the dictator, or you, the tyrant. No. You are not my leader. My leader, my shepherd, is my God. And it's also a justice psalm, because the images of green pastures and cups overflowing imply that there is enough. There is enough for everyone, and there always has been. This week, a new shepherd, a new leader, was sworn into Parliament. Her family was not present to watch her being sworn in because, as she put it, I doubt my family would have travelled to Canberra to see me swearing allegiance to the coloniser, even if there hadn't been a pandemic-driven travel ban in place. Lydia Thorpe, the newest Green senator, formally joined the Senate on Tuesday. She was cloaked in possum skins and she was carrying a message stick with lines burnt on it. 441 lines, each one symbolising the death of someone who had passed away in custody since the 1991 Royal Commission. Thorpe said, if we are to right these wrongs, these many wrongs, we need to fix the system. And this means ending deaths in custody and the mass incarceration of First Nations peoples, righting the wrongs of the past and moving forward towards treaty. The Lord is my shepherd, his staff and rod will protect me. This Gunai and Gunjamara woman is the first Aboriginal senator for the Greens to represent Victoria and the first Aboriginal woman in the Victorian Parliament. Her message stick will defend her flock, or at very least, she will try. Shepherding comes in many forms. Another shepherd defending her flock is multi-clan leader Auntie Sandra Onus, who is one of the traditional owners fighting to protect thousands of trees along the Western Highway. Do you remember the trees? I know we've been in lockdown for a while, but guess what? The tent embassy is still there and they are still fighting. These trees that the state government wants to bulldoze down to build a road. Auntie Sandra Onus said bulldozing trees that her people deemed to be sacred was akin to Rio Tinto's destruction of the 46,000-year-old sacred Aboriginal caves in Western Australia. Auntie Sandra said, here in Victoria, it's no better. I'm sick of our cultural heritage being destroyed. There are very few trees left due to bad farming practices, tree clearances, fire and roads. We've shown them a better way to do this, and they're not listening to us. Now, as many of you know, these trees in question include an 800-year-old grandmother birthing tree with a wide, gaping hollow at its base, in which thousands of First Nation babies are believed to be born. The people believe that their ancestors' lives live in these trees and act as guardians These trees carry their DNA. They are their bloodline and their songlines. And the state government has promised, although only after 2 years of passionate protest by the folk up at the tent embassy, to save some of the most ancient of the trees. But only by circling around them and leaving them isolated and alone. We all know what it feels like to be cut off from family. We all know what it feels like to be isolated and alone. Trees, just like us, they don't want to be separated from community. Most trees want to live socially. And as writer Peter Walben puts it in his book, The Secret Life of Trees, trees want to have companions. They want to live in social groups. They support each other. And some trees act as parents and grandparents and good neighbours. They nurture and protect each other. Some trees, it could be argued, act as shepherds for the rest. I am your true shepherd. Shepherds. We've already named some of them today: the doctor, the nurse, the carer, the teacher, the parent, and now we have the politician and the activist and even the tree. Maybe shepherding is less about a job description and more about a willingness to step in front of the flock and to make of your body a gate which protects, and to choose for your journey a walking alongside. Shepherds, as we heard at the start of this reflection, they're not always perfect. King David, the original shepherd king, certainly was not. But you know what? Fear of stuffing up should never get in the way of giving love a go. And it should never get in the way of doing the work that we feel called to do and that the world needs us to do. Even though sometimes that work might feel thankless or frightening or without hope. The Good Shepherd is not some sentimental lamb cuddler, but is tough and rugged and able to see ahead. Australian sheep farmers are amongst the many voices now calling for real action on climate change because they see their land ravaged by drought and their flocks burnt and starved. Shepherds. They can sleep out on the edge of the Western Highway for over 2 years to save their trees. They can fight systemic racism and sexism and enter Parliament to become a leader. And good shepherds, like the good prophets, they will push us and they will round us up and they will guide us to new pastures. Even when we are frightened and sometimes obstinate and stuck in our ways. They will lead us to where we can have life. And life abundantly. And they will meet us. They will meet us not just in the middle of the air, but in the here and now of saving each other and saving our world from the wolves.
So we're right here. Yeah, we're right here where we're camping now. It's right on the scar tree of the birthing tree. There's also clay balls we've recorded to be found here. So it wasn't just a birthing tree, it was used for cooking as well. Spear tips, scattered artefacts, so all through this area. So where the red line is, also we've got Langi Grang, as you probably pass that little mountain on the right hand side, called Langi Grang. That's the red tail cockatoo, or the black cockatoo, the red tail one. That's the totem bird for this area. They want to chop all our trees down, they want to go through our meeting sites. They want to go as close as they can to the mountain range, and they want to build 4 lanes. Are they going to fit 4 lanes in here? No way. No, not taking our country, no way.
That's my cousin. Another one from the Northern Territory. My cousin here. We were right. Aranda.
Connecting with the birthing tree out here with all the other grandmothers. The G grandmothers, one of the G grandmothers here as well, and us from the centre. And what a way to be able to connect in a very special way and come in here and meet Nadi Sandra after all these years.
You know, we're really happy to be here, to have a look at the birthing trees here, all the grandmas getting together and, you know, supporting each other in our country and looking after our country so others don't destroy it, because it's got our spirits and we have to look after it. We are the next generation to look after our country.
And so it's a privilege to come out here and see that and connecting. Sandra used to live in Alice Springs. Like she said, she's really happy to see us. And we're all grandmothers and great-grandmothers now.
That was wonderful. It was.
Yeah.
It's something I'll never forget. They come down here all this way.
Always leave them alone. You know, you wouldn't go around the tree, make a road. I mean, that many people have done it now. Go around the trees. Why remove a tree that's been there for that long?
Good morning, everybody. For the prayers this morning, I thought I would take you through a short meditation, just a simple process to help find a place of support and relaxation, a time to still our minds and bring a little bit more awareness to our bodies. So I invite you to find a comfortable, supportive position, either in a chair or lying on the floor. Just finding a place that you feel supported to do this short meditation of a few minutes. And to start with, I invite you to take a long, slow, deep breath down into your belly. You might like to close your eyes first, but just feeling the breath, feeling your abdomen, just feeling the air coming into your belly, filling your belly, and then on the exhale, just relaxing. Just slowly letting the air release from your lungs. And I invite you to do the same thing again, just taking a nice, long, slow, deep breath. There's nothing else to do other than take this in-breath. In a moment, I'm going to ring the bell 3 times and we'll sit for 2 minutes. And then I'll ring the bell 3 more times and then we'll come out of this. But during that time, I invite you to just stay with that long, slow, deep breath, just filling your belly with oxygen and slowly releasing it, and just allowing your body to sink into the chair or the floor, wherever you may be. might like to slowly open your eyes, start wiggling your fingers, your toes, slowly coming back to your everyday consciousness. I'd like to invite you to bring any sense of this feeling that you may have experienced in this time into your day. And I look forward to seeing you all soon.
The glorious Catford family have a special message for us today. Now, they sent it to me as a long email, but I decided I was going to make them give it to you themselves. So this is the Catfords, and they're going to share with us a story about Hagar's Well.
This time last year, our family and friends, including many of you at St Andrews, helped our dad to raise over $10,000 to support the work of Hagar International by sponsoring him to run 10 kilometres around the temples of Angkor.
Thank you.
Well, there's no travelling to Cambodia this year, so instead on the 14th of November 2020, Hagar supporters around the world are joining together virtually to raise awareness and funds for Hagar's work. This means in 2020, our whole family will be joining the run, and we have set a family target to run 30 kilometres together on Wurundjeri land.
To fund and support Hagar's important work to free and heal communities of human trafficking, modern-day slavery and abuse. For over 26 years, Hagar has helped tens of thousands of people escape this cycle. But with 40.3 million people in this world still affected, there is still much more to do. Those experiencing trafficking, slavery, and abuse have been some of the most affected by COVID-19 outbreak, and Hagar has been there to support them. Lockdown in Melbourne has been hard, but it has been far, far harder for those who are healing from the extreme trauma.
We know that not everyone is in a position to donate to a charity this year. However, if you would like to support us and to raise funds for Hagar's important work, you can make a donation online on this address on your screen. If you don't have a pen to write this down, you can find the link by searching for Rise for Freedom on the internet. And you can also learn more about the amazing transformational work of Hagar by visiting the Hagar International website.
Thank you, St Andrews.
The beautiful Paul Banks, all the way up in Kyneton, composed a piece of music, and we're going to share this together now as our blessing with words from the poet and artist Jan Richardson. Press your hand to this blessing. Here, along the side where you can feel its seam. Press your hand to this blessing here along the side where you can feel its seam. Follow the seam, and you will find the hinges on which this blessing turns. Feel how your fingers catch on them, top, bottom, the slightest pressure sending the gate gliding open in a glad welcome. Wait, did I say press your hand to this blessing? What I meant was press your hand to your heart. Press your hand to your heart. Press your hand to your heart. Rest it over that place in your chest that has grown closed and tight. Do it now, where the rust with its talent for making decay look artful has bitten into what you once held dear. Breathe deep. Press on the knot and feel how it begins to give way, turning upon the hinge of your heart. Notice how it opens wide and wider still as you exhale, spilling you out into a realm where you never dreamed to go, but cannot now imagine living this life without. Wait, did I say press your hand to this blessing? What I meant was press your hand to your heart. Press your hand to your heart.